Deep in the blistering heart of the Essosi wastes, a man wanders whose soul remains frozen in the distant north. He is a knight, a champion of the Tilt, and a former lord of one of the most ancient houses in Westeros. Yet, he carries no banners and commands no lands. He is a ghost in a foreign land, haunted by a choice that stripped him of his name and his home. To many, he is simply Jorah the Andal, the loyal shadow of a dragon queen. But in the halls of Winterfell, he is remembered by a much darker title, Slaver. How does a hero of the realm fall so far? How does a man of House Mormont, sworn to the honorable Starks, end up selling his own people for a handful of Tyroshi coin? To understand the fall of Sir Jorah Mormont, we must look past the man and into the ghost that haunts him. Before we continue, subscribe to Bloodlines Kingdoms for more journeys through the forgotten histories, hidden mysteries, and tragic figures of Westeros. And if you enjoy this tale, consider leaving a like. It helps the channel more than you might think. Now, back to Jorah Mormont's fall from grace. The North is a land where honor is as harsh and unyielding as the winter frost. For the people of Bear Island, life is a constant struggle against the elements and the iron-born reavers. House Mormont has never been a wealthy house. Their strength lies in their resilience, not their coffers. In this world, the laws of the first men are sacred, and none are more absolute than the prohibition of slavery. While the free cities across the narrow sea thrive on the trade of human flesh, in Westeros, it is an abomination. To a Northman, the idea of selling a soul is a crime that strikes at the very heart of the old god's justice. It was this ancient law that Jorah Mormont chose to break, shattering the honor of his house and the trust of his liege lords. A common misconception lingers in the minds of many that Jorah Mormont, the Old Bear, and Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, took the black because he was so ashamed of his son's crimes. But the truth is far more tragic. Jorah had already abdicated his seat and traveled to the Wall long before Jorah's transgression. He had passed the lordship to his son, believing the future of Bear Island was in capable hands. He left a legacy of service, never dreaming that the man he left behind would become a fugitive. When the crime was discovered, the weight of the betrayal fell solely on Jorah's shoulders. He had not just broken the king's law, he had betrayed a father who had given him everything. The specifics of the charge were clear and damning. Jorah Mormont had been caught selling poachers, men caught hunting on his own lands, to a Tyroshi slaver. To Jorah, these men were perhaps nothing more than a nuisance, a way to swell his family's empty coffers. But to Eddard Stark, the Warden of the North, they were people under Jorah's protection. When word reached Winterfell, the response was swift. Ned Stark made the long, arduous journey west to Bear Island to deliver the king's justice personally. He arrived expecting to find a lord ready to face the headsman's axe with dignity. Instead, he found an empty hall. Jorah had taken ship, fleeing beyond the reach of ice and the king's justice, an act that suggested a profound consciousness of guilt. Why would a man of Jorah's standing risk everything for a few bags of silver? Jorah Mormont did not wake up one day and decide to become a criminal. His descent into the slave trade was a slow, agonizing process fueled by a singular, obsessive infatuation. It was his second wife, Lynessa of House Hightower, who became the catalyst for his ruin. His first marriage had ended in quiet grief when his lady died, leaving him a widower with a cold hearth. But his second marriage was different. It was a fit of madness, a fever dream of southern elegance and northern poverty that could only end in disaster. The story truly begins at Lannisport, in the wake of the Greyjoy Rebellion. King Robert Baratheon held a magnificent tourney to celebrate the victory, and Jorah, having fought bravely on Robert's side during the rebellion, was there to participate. It was amidst the glint of steel and the roar of the crowd that he first saw Lynessa. She was a maid half his age, the daughter of Lord Leighton Hightower, come up from Old Town to see her brothers joust. Jorah describes the moment with a haunting clarity. I could not take my eyes off her. In an act of desperation he never thought would be rewarded, he begged for her favor. To his shock, she granted it. With her favor knotted around his arm, Jorah Mormont was a different man. He was no longer a rough-hewn northern lord, he was a champion. He unhorsed the greatest names in the realm. Lord Jason Mallister, Bronze Yohn Royce, and even members of the Kingsguard like Sir Boros Blount. In the final match, he broke 9 lances against Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer himself, until King Robert finally declared Jorah the champion. He crowned Lynesy his queen of love and beauty, and that night, drunk on glory and wine, he asked for her hand. By all rights, a lord of the wealthy House Hightower should have offered a contemptuous refusal to a poor lord of a remote island, but in a twist of fate that sealed Jorah's destiny, Lord Leighton accepted. The triumph of Lannisport was the beginning of Jorah's long, slow defeat. He brought his golden bride back to Bear Island, a place of mud, pine needles, and freezing rain. Lynesy was a creature of the south, accustomed to the warmth of Old Town, the scent of jasmine, and the soft silks of the Reach. Bear Island was a hovel to her. Jorah, desperate to keep the smile on her face, tried to recreate the south in the north. He spent money House Mormont did not have, draining the coffers until there was nothing left but debt. He was a man drowning in love, willing to burn his heritage just to keep his wife from being bored. When the gold ran out and the creditors came knocking, Jorah turned to the one thing he had left, the lives of the men on his land. It was a decision born of absolute financial and emotional desperation. He thought he could hide the crime, that a few missing poachers would go unnoticed in the vast wilderness of the north. He was wrong. The north does not forget its own, and the Starks do not tolerate the stench of slavery. By the time Ned Stark arrived to take his head, Jorah realized that Lynesy would not stay to watch him die. She did not love the man, she loved the champion and the lifestyle he could no longer afford. The tragedy of Jorah Mormont is that his greatest victory led to his most shameful defeat. His love for Lynesy was a fit of madness that blinded him to his duty and his honor. He became a man who sold his soul to buy a smile that was already fading. 5 years into his exile in Essos, Jorah remains a man defined by his ghosts. He speaks of Lynesy not with anger, but with a lingering, pathetic devotion. He is a man who was drunk on glory and woke up in the dirt. He remains a stark reminder that in the world of ice and fire, the highest peaks of pride often overlook the deepest pits of dishonor. As we look at the figure of Sir Jorah Mormont standing beside the Mother of Dragons, we must ask ourselves, is he a man seeking redemption, or is he simply a man who has found a new queen to worship? Can a slaver ever truly wash the blood from his hands, or is the reach of ice something a Northman can never truly escape? Jorah Mormont fled the king's justice, but he could never flee himself. He remains the champion who lost everything for a favor knotted around his arm, a jagged, broken blade in the service of a new destiny. The North remembers Jorah Mormont, not for the lances he broke at Lannisport, but for the lives he sold at Bear Island. And in the end, that is the only legacy that remains.